Hi there, it's Kalymnios from the Thought Gym, here helping you become your superhuman self. This series of videos is all around movement. So this is about how can we move our bodies a little bit more, maybe first thing in the morning, maybe during the day when you've been sat down at your desk for a while. So what I call them is 5-a-day movement flows. Why am I calling it that? Well, because we're often told about eating 5 a day in terms of fruit and vegetable, but not always in terms of movement. So the way it's going to work is these are only 5 minutes long. There are 5 exercises and you do each exercise for 30 seconds, which means you do each exercise twice. There are different series in this whole movement repertoire, from a foundational piece to a mobility piece to a stretching piece to a strength to a more of a HIIT training, even to a Qigong inspired flow as well. So there are many different ones, and the way it works is that you either take 5 minutes and you just do 5 minutes. So maybe when you wake up in the morning, just before you brush your teeth and jump out the door, you do your 5 minutes. Or if you've got 10 minutes, you can do it twice or stack a second one on. Or if you've got 25 minutes, maybe you stack 5 together. So it's really up to you how you do it. They're going to be individually set as videos, but then they'll be all stitched together in one long flow as well. So you can actually do this as an entire thing with one video. But really the idea is you just do 5 minutes, and if you've got 10 minutes, you stack a second one, 15, you stack a second one, a third one. Also, there will be, with some of the exercises, more like beginner, intermediate sections and more advanced sections. So where appropriate, the screen will be split and you'll have the beginner section on one side, or beginner intermediate on one side, or intermediate advanced on the other side, depending on the particular exercise. So do what you can, and there'll be a timer as well, so you'll be able to just follow along with the timer, and the idea is not to think about it. If this isn't the first time you're watching the video, no need to watch the introductions and the exercise explanations. You can just jump straight into the exercise. But we're going to get started by showing you the different exercises for each of the routines, and then the routine will be after that. So the video will be longer than 5 minutes. So without any further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the foundational series in the 5-a-day movement flows. This one is designed to be a bit of an all-rounder and access as much of the body as possible in terms of strengthening. So the first exercise that we'll be doing will be air squats. So air squats is just a squat without any weight. If you want to use weight, that's up to you. Feet are going to be wherever is going to be comfortable. I usually find toes pointing out slightly, hips further than hip width apart. As you come down, doesn't really matter how far you come as far as you can. Knee should be tracking over the second big toe here, ideally, so they're not coming in too much. Maybe you come down here. Okay, I know my dad, when he does his squats, he comes down to about here. Maybe you come all the way down. This isn't as far as you could go, but knee injuries that I've got don't allow me to do that right now. You can try things differently. You can come down like this if you want, where your feet are more pointing forwards. If you've got the benefit of having something like this, you can put this on your back, and that can be quite nice to come down like that. So totally up to you how you do the air squat. So that's the first one. Next one is push-up. So push-up, classic push-up might be something like this. Now what I find is that a lot of people, they tend to come quite wide on their arms and point the elbows out. And whilst that's not incorrect, and there isn't a necessarily correct or incorrect way, for shoulder stability, I find it's a little bit better to have the arms where you can either have them a bit like a yogi push-up, where they're right up against the ribs, or halfway between, so it's a 45-degree angle. Now you see I just demonstrated that on my knees, and that's another thing that you can do, is come onto your knees and do the push-ups this way, or one knee. The other option, if that's still unavailable to you, is find a bench or a chair or a table, something that is strong and sturdy. You can even use this, or this will be quite hard. And you can still be on your knees and do it this way, or you can be on your feet. The higher up you go onto a shelf, then the easier it will be. So you can even do it against the wall, you know, that's a good option for you as well. So this is the regression for you, and I'll demonstrate those regressions. So we had the air squats, then we had the push-ups, and now we go to lunges. So the classic lunge might be walking forwards, again coming to about your knee over your ankle, can be a little bit beyond but not really much beyond, and then coming down, okay? That's one option. The other option is to do it going backwards, which I actually quite like, the backwards one, because you get a little bit more control over what's happening with this front leg, because then you can guide everything from that. So actually, and we'll take it alternately, you can do that. Of course, if you want to add something to it with the arms, you can bring the arms out like this, or like this. And again, same with going forwards, you can do that. You can have weights, or even no weights, and just pull the biceps. So totally up to you. In terms of regression, you know, not a huge amount with this, except for just not coming down. So step in and back, step in and back. So you just don't bring the knee all the way down, okay? So that's your regression for that one. Next one might be a new one for you. It's from the Egoscue method, and it's good for the opening up the shoulders, open up the chest, strengthening the back of the neck here. Now the important thing is to have your feet hip width apart. So this is not hip width apart, this is hip width apart, where the ankles, the knees and the hip bone are all in a line. The outside edges of your feet might be parallel, and then it looks a little bit pigeon-toed on the inside. Then with your hands, you're going to have not a tight punch grip, but a very loose punch grip with the thumbs pointing out. So not really a punch grip at all, but with like a thumbs up. Then you're going to bring your wrists to shoulder height, like this, a little bit back. Keep the pelvis tucked under and the back straight, feet like this, and then you're going to take small windmill arms like this, as if you're circling a small coin at the end of your arm, and you can feel it in between the shoulder blades. And once you've done about, say, 20 and 30 one way, do the other way. And then on the next round, have your thumbs pointing the other way and do the same. So it will be about 15 seconds backwards, 15 seconds forwards. Second round, 15 seconds backwards with the thumb pointing that way, 15 seconds the other way, okay? And then the fifth exercise are back extensions. So you can be lying flat on the ground like this and come up like that. Maybe from the side it'd be easier. So your hands can be behind you, you bring your feet up and your chest up, or your arms can be forwards or to the side, up to you. That's one option. Possibly a little bit easier for the regression might be simply to have yourself in tabletop position to begin with, and then you can keep both hands on the floor and just do one leg at a time. Or if you want a little bit more, again, still a bit easier maybe, although not always, is the balance and having opposite arm, opposite leg. That's a nice one. Other options are to keep the leg bent and come up like this. Again, you can maybe just have this hand supporting you in some way rather than actually doing the work. So there are your 5 exercises, including the regressions. So follow along, adapt them as you wish. Let's get started. So the air squats again, coming down as far as is comfortable. You don't need to come down all the way. Squeeze the bottom on the way up, almost thrusting the hips forward a little bit. And again, having your feet narrow makes it a little bit harder, especially if you don't have the ankle flexibility. Good. Coming up, push-ups. So off the knees is the harder version, coming all the way down, push up and maybe round the spine. Down, round the spine. So you don't have to go fast, you can go slow, you can do whatever you want. You've got 30 seconds, your choice. Lunges, go forwards, come down with the knee. Doesn't have to bang on the floor, just a light touch. Maybe the hairs on your knees, touching it if you've got hairs on your knees. Okay, arms can be by the hips, they can be up. You can cactus them, try and get that toe and knee alignment. Good, and then a gosku. So, backwards to begin with. Keeping the feet parallel, shoulder blades squeezing together. And then after 15 seconds you change direction, keeping the thumbs pointing the same direction though. And then we're going to go to back extensions. And down to back extensions. Hands can be behind the head. Keep the gaze down. Try and keep the back of the neck long rather than looking forwards. Hands can be cactus hands. Maybe you just want to just do, not the legs and just do the chest. That's fine as well. Making it harder, having the arms out in front as well. Good. And back to air squats. Okay, so maybe you go a bit narrower this time, but not as deep. Again, same thing, squeeze the butt as you come up, chest forwards. You can have the hands on the shoulders, elbows forward or down, hands on the head, hands out in front, up to you. Keep it nice and even, keep that knee tracking, down to the push-ups. Maybe this time you do it differently, maybe you go fast. If you went slow before, maybe you go slow. If you went fast before, you can always come onto your knees. Oh, this is tough. And then maybe the lunges, this time you go back instead of forwards. Have a little twist in there. As you do more and more of these, you will work out what works for you and what doesn't. Onto the goskus. This time, fingers pointing behind, or whatever opposite way from what you did before was. I actually can't remember which I did. Doesn't really matter. As long as you do something, it is all good. And then onto the back extensions. Oh, really starting to sweat. Oh, the thing with these exercises is there's no rest. It's just 5 minutes continuously changing and adapting the body's perception of what's coming. Short and sweet. Oh, that's good. Oh, well done. Thank you for doing this 5-a-day movement flow. I hope it's made you feel a little bit better. And remember, you can stack the flows, do them repeatedly throughout the day, morning, at work, when you come home, just before you go to bed, whenever you want to do it. If you've got 5 minutes, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, whatever it is, and stack them on. So be sure to check out the other videos in this series so that you can get all the benefits. And remember to connect with me online, social media or otherwise, The Thought Gym, Harry Kalymnios, that's where you're gonna find me. Cheers, bye-bye.